Right.
I want to get into this because this is I think this is a fascinating thing with you personally. Your diet. You're on this carnivore diet now.
Okay, so I want to preface that with something. I am not a dietary expert, so I'm now speaking as an uninformed citizen.
Yes.
Right.
Well, this is anecdotal evidence from a human being that has dealt with autoimmune issues your whole life.
Yes.
You have done this for how long now?
I've been on a pure carnivore diet for about 2 months and a very, very low carb, greens only, modified carnivore diet for about a year.
So in the year...
And a low-carb diet for 2 years.
So from the time that I've known you for what, 2.5 years now, something like that?
Yeah.
When I first met you, you had much more weight on your body.
Yeah.
You looked different.
Yeah.
And back then you were eating like the standard diet, right? Like normal people do.
Yes.
Pasta, bread, meat, chicken, whatever.
Yes.
Right? You shifted over to only meat and greens. I saw you and I'm like, you look fantastic. I'm like, what are you doing? And you're like, I changed my diet. I only eat meat and greens. And I was like, wow, that's fascinating. Well, I felt like, okay, what you're doing is cutting out refined sugars and all these different things that are problematic, preservatives, all the bullshit, processed foods. And you're having this extreme health benefit. And I was like, wow, that's really excellent. You're showing great discipline. Then you decided to take it to another place and cut out the greens.
Yeah, I know.
What was the motivation for cutting out the greens?
Well, all of the motivation for this has been my experience with my daughter because she has an unbelievably serious autoimmune disease. I just talked to her this morning.
What is it called?
Well, it's arthritis, but there's way more to it than that. But the arthritis was the major set of symptoms. She had 40 affected joints. And she had to have her hip replaced and her ankle replaced when she was 15 and 16. And so she basically hobbled around on 2 broken legs for 2 years in extreme agony. And that was just a tiny fraction of the whole set of problems. I just talked to her this morning. She's in Chicago. Looks like she has to have her ankle replacement replaced. So that's next on the horizon. But apart from that, she is doing so well now. It is absolutely beyond comprehension. So she's very trim. She had a baby, but she's very trim. She's down to about 118 pounds. She's about 5'6". She's just glowing with health. All of her autoimmune symptoms are gone, all of them. And she was also seriously depressed, like severely depressed, way worse than you think. She couldn't stay awake for more than about 6 hours without taking Ritalin. And she was dying. And I had a cousin, my cousin's daughter. She died when she was 30 from an associated autoimmune condition. So there's a fair bit of this in our family. It was bloody bleak, I'll tell you. And my wife always had a suspicion that this was dietary related, and
why?
Well, we did notice that when Michaela was young, if she ate oranges or strawberries, that she'd get a rash. Like there were, and then when she developed arthritis, if she ate oranges in particular, that would definitely cause a flare. It was the only thing we could see. The problem is that in order to identify a dietary component, the response has to be pretty quick after you eat the thing. Like if it's 2 days later, how the hell are you going to figure that out? Right. A lot of these responses appear to be delayed for 4 days and last a month. So good luck figuring that out. Anyways, Michaela noticed about 3 years ago, no more than that now, 5 years ago, she was at Concordia University and struggling with her illness and all the associated problems. She noticed that around exam time, she was starting to develop real skin problems. And my cousin's daughter, who I mentioned, had really bad skin problems and wounds that wouldn't heal. And that was partly part of the process that eventually killed her. And she thought, it must be stress. And then she thought, wait a second, I really changed my diet. When I'm studying, all I do is eat bagels. All I do is eat bread, sandwiches. She thought, maybe it's the bread. So she cut out gluten first. And it had a remarkable effect, like a really remarkable effect. And then she went on a radical elimination diet all the way down to nothing but chicken and broccoli. And then her symptoms started to drop off one by one. Like one of the things that happened is she started to wake up in the morning. She started to be able to stay awake all day. And when you're only staying awake for 6 hours with Ritalin, staying awake all day, that's like having a life. And so a whole bunch of things improved. Then her depression went away. And I've had depression since I was 13 probably, and very severe. And I've treated it a variety of ways, some of them quite successfully. But it's been a constant battle. And my father had it, and his father had it. And it's all just rife in my family. And my wife has autoimmune problems in her.
When you say depression, define it.
How would you define it?
Because that's a blanket term.
Yeah. Well, imagine that you wake up and that you remember that all your family was killed in a horrible accident yesterday.
You would feel that even
All
if
the
nothing was
time.
wrong.
Yes.
Just
It's
dread.
actually worse than that. Because,
Really?
well, one of the things Michaela told me was she thought, well, what's it like to be depressed? Well, imagine you have a dog and you really love the dog, and then the dog dies. And then about 3 years ago, our dog died. And that was Michaela's dog, and she really liked that dog. And she said, that was bad, but it's nowhere near as bad as being depressed. And I asked her, too, at one point when she was about 15 or 16, I said, look, you've got a choice, kid. Here's the choice. You can either have depression or arthritis. Which one? I'll take the arthritis. Well, that was after she'd lost 2 joints. So it was no joke. It's no joke, man. There isn't any... No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say there's nothing worse. Because worse is a very deep hole.
Right.
But it's bad.
Yeah, people will prove you wrong, right?
Oh, yes, definitely. Worse is a deep hole. Anyways, her depression went away. All these symptoms went away. And like radically.
So what changed her from chicken and broccoli to carnivore?
Well, she kept experimenting, and she got very sensitive to all sorts of foods in the aftermath of that too. So this is why I wouldn't recommend that anybody does this casually, because we don't understand much about it. But the upshot was that, well, she kept experimenting, and she started to add things back and take them away. And sometimes when she added things, the results were devastating. She was like done for a month. She ate the wrong thing, done for a month. All the symptoms came back. The depression came back. She thought that her whole dietary theory was wrong because it lasted so long and was so extreme. And it's like it took her 2 years to figure out that really what she could eat was beef and greens. And then she figured out that she could only eat beef.
So the greens themselves.
Well, look, so what happened? Okay, so 2 years ago she said, Dad, you have to try this diet because you have a lot of the same symptoms as me. Now, I didn't have arthritis, but I had a lot of the other symptoms. And I thought, oh, Christ, okay, Michaela, I can try anything for a month. She said, try it for a month. I thought, okay, whatever. I can hang by my fingernails from the windowsill for a month. It's just not that big a deal. And so I went on a really low carb diet. Okay, so this is what happened. I had gastric reflux disorder, and I was snoring quite a lot. I stopped snoring the first week. I thought, what the hell? That's supposed to be associated with weight loss. Because I had gained some weight. I weighed about 212 pounds, and I'm about 6'1½", so that was my maximum weight. I stopped snoring, which was a great relief to Tammy. So that just quit, and that's a big deal, right? Because if you snore, you have sleep apnea, and then you don't sleep right, and it's like not a good thing. Okay, next. I started waking up in the mornings. I'd never been able to wake up in the mornings my whole life. I always had to stumble to the shower, and then maybe I could wake up. It took me an hour, and I felt terrible. And so all of a sudden I woke up, and it was like, oh, look at that. I'm awake in the morning, and I'm clear-headed, and things aren't gloomy and horrible. It's like, well, isn't that weird? Then I lost 7 pounds the first month. I thought, 7 pounds, that's a lot in a month. And I'd already gone for a whole year on a sugar-free diet, and I didn't lose any weight. And I'd been exercising.
Sugar-free, but did you cut out bread and gluten?
No, it was just no desserts, no sugar. No, and I thought that might do it. Didn't make any difference at all. 7 pounds. Well, then I lost 7 pounds the next month. Then I lost 7 pounds the next month. I lost 7 pounds every month for 7 months. It's like I had to throw away all my clothes. I went back to the same weight that I was when I was 26. And my psoriasis disappeared. And I had floaters in my right eye, and they cleared up. And then the last thing that went away for me, I was still having a bitch of a time with mood regulation, and that sucked because when I changed my diet, I didn't respond to antidepressants properly anymore. They weren't working. And so although I was getting better physically in a variety of ways, like radical ways, I was really having a bitch of a time regulating my mood, and I was having sporadic, really negative reactions to food when I ate something I shouldn't. So that took about 1.5 years to clear up, and I was still really anxious in the morning up to 3 months ago, like horribly, and then it would get better all day. People said, well, you're under a lot of stress. And I thought, yeah, I've been under a lot of stress for like 10 years. It's like, it's a lot, but it wasn't any more stressful than helping my daughter deal with her illness, that's for sure. That, no, this is something different. And she said to me, quit eating greens. And I thought, oh, really? Jesus, Michaela, I'm eating cucumbers, lettuce, broccoli, and chicken and beef. It's like I have to cut out the goddamn greens? It's like, try it for a month. Okay. Within a week, I was 25% less anxious in the morning. Within 2 weeks, 75%. And I've been better every single day. I'm better now probably than I've ever been in my life. And I haven't been taking antidepressants for a whole year. So I don't know what, and I weigh 162 pounds. Like I have and I've actually gained musculature. I've been doing some working out, but not a lot. And so I can sleep 6 hours a night, no problem. I wake up in the morning, I'm awake. If I take a 15-minute nap, that used to take me an hour to recover from, that's gone. Here's the coolest thing. I've had gum disease since I was 25. That's been serious enough to have, I've had to have minor surgical interventions, scraping and that sort of thing to keep it at bay. It's gone. I checked with my dentist before this last tour. No inflammation. And that's associated with heart disease, by the way, gum inflammation and gingivitis. It's a good risk factor for heart disease. It means the systemic inflammation is gone. And it's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to recover from gingivitis. And my gums are in perfect shape. It's like, what the hell? So here's what happened. I lost 50 pounds. It's like, that's a lot, right? I'm nowhere near as hungry as I used to be. My appetite's probably fallen by 70%. I don't get blood sugar dysregulation problems. I need way less sleep. I get up in the morning and I'm fine. I'm not anxious. I'm not depressed. I don't have psoriasis. My legs were numb on the sides. That's gone. I'm certainly intellectually at my best at the moment, which is a great relief, especially doing this tour. Depression is gone. I'm stronger. I can swim better. And my gum disease is gone. It's like, what the hell?
And you've done no blood work, so you don't know what your lipid profile is, or
no. I'll get that done again when I go back.
Do you
to
take any
Toronto.
vitamins?
No. I eat beef and salt and water. That's it. And I never cheat, ever. Not even a little bit. Nothing.
Soda, no wine.
I drink club soda.
Well, that's still water.
Well, when you're down to that level, no, it's not.
So
Look, Joe, there's club soda, which is really bubbly. Mm-hmm. There's Perrier, which is sort of bubbly. There's flat water, and there's hot water.
So those distinctions,
those distinctions start to become important.
That is crazy. Well, we ate last night, and I ate what you ate. We both had that giant tomahawk.
Yeah.
I had wine though.
Yeah.
I'm curious about this. I'm very curious, and I think I might try it. But I eat a lot of vegetables.
Yeah.
But I don't have any problems, like health problems.
Hey, man, like I'm not. Disclaimer number 2: I am not recommending this to anyone. However, I have had many, many people come up to me on the tour and say, "Look, I've been following your daughter's blog, and I've lost like 100 pounds." I think, what? You lost 100 pounds? See, I lost 100 pounds in 6 months. I talked to a woman yesterday. She lost 15 pounds in 1 month. She was 70. It's like, this is... here's a question. Why is everyone fat and stupid? That's a question, man. Because it's new.
Is it?
Yes, it is. It's new. And it's not sedentary lifestyle. That hypothesis doesn't seem to hold water. There's something wrong with the way we're eating. And what's wrong is that we're eating way too many carbohydrates, I think. But remember, I'm no expert.
Big shift. The elimination of most carbohydrates has made a big shift in my life. And I do cheat occasionally with bread, occasionally with pasta. I will go off with ice cream and things along those lines. But most of the time, I'm just eating meat and vegetables. Most of the time. And then I'll have a cheat day like, once a week or something like that. Especially if I go to dinner, I'll have a little pasta. And it doesn't seem to mess me up too bad, but I do feel shitty after I do it. It's like for simple mouth pleasure, I'm allowing myself to feel tired afterwards.
Tired, that's a big one, man.
Yeah.
But really, I can go on about spikes. 6 hours of sleep now. And it's so interesting I can't believe I can wake up in the morning. That's never happened to me in my whole life. And when I was a kid, 13, 12, I had a bitch of a time waking up in the morning. It was just brutal. I just thought that's how it was.
This is again, I'm not a nutritionist either. But what's fascinating to me is I haven't heard any negative stories about people doing this.
Well, I have a negative story.
Okay.
One of the things that both Michaela and I noticed was that when we restricted our diet and then ate something we weren't supposed to, the reaction to eating what we weren't supposed to was absolutely catastrophic.
What did you do? What did you switch to? Or what did you eat, rather?
Well, the worst response, I think we're allergic, whatever the hell this is, having an inflammatory response to something called sulfites. And we had some apple cider that had sulfites in it, and that was really not good. Like, I was done for a month. That was the first time I talked to Sam Harris.
You were done for a month?
Oh, yeah. It took me out for a month. It was awful.
Really?
Yeah. So I would say,
so this is right before this whole truth conversation with Sam Harris that got stuck in the mud. During. So
I think the day I talked to Sam was like the worst day of my life. Not because of talking to Sam, but it was
just physically.
Oh Jesus, I was so dead. But I didn't want to not do it because
apple cider. Like what was it
sulfites
doing?
in it.
What was it doing to you?
Oh, it produced an overwhelming sense of impending doom. And I seriously mean overwhelming. Like there's no way I could have lived like that if that would have lasted for... See, Michaela knew by that point that it would probably only last a month. And I was like...
A month?
Yeah,
from
a month.
Fucking cider?
Oh, I didn't sleep that month. I didn't sleep for 25 days. I didn't sleep at all. I didn't sleep at all for 25 days.
How is that possible? That
I'll tell you how it's possible. You lay in bed, frozen in something approximating terror for 8 hours, and then you get up.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Not
and
good.
This is from fucking cider. From cider.
That's what we thought, yeah. I mean, look, again, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay, this is all a mystery to me. The fact that my daughter was so sick. See, the one thing that I did know, because I scoured the literature on arthritis when she was a kid, the scientific literature, and because we were interested in the dietary connection, and the only thing I could find that was reliable was that if people with arthritis fasted, their symptoms reliably went away. And that's actually a well-documented finding. But then if they started to eat again, then the symptoms came back. And I thought, well, what the hell? Does it not matter what they eat? They can't be reactive to everything. It's like, no, but they can be reactive to almost everything. And the difference between everything